So now we move on to the second part of my presentation, and I'll be analyzing the strategic considerations that Beijing has while determining its maritime policies. So, if one were to put a face on the rapid militarization and modernization policies, it would be that of Xi Jinping. The Chinese president has made amendments that have enabled him to remain in office for life. And with the little opposition left in the country, it essentially makes him dictator for life. Xi Jinping has since come into power in 2013, focused extensively on the modernization of the PLAN among the other wings of the PLA. He is not only the president of the People's Republic of China, but also the General Secretary of the Chinese Communist Party and the chairman of the Central Military Commission. Xi is undoubtedly the strongest and most assertive leader of the PRC since Chairman Mao. And being the president as well as the general secretary and the chairman of the CMC, he is the title of paramount leader is often bestowed upon him. And also about the title of chairman, it was discontinued after Chairman Mao passed on, but Xi Jinping is planning on bringing the title back for himself. Now, autistic superpower. The reason why I've included this slide is because the professor pointed out in my book review that I had missed out on this important and interesting concept. So, China expert John Gower refers to China as being an autistic superpower. He relates China to the concept of autism, a condition in which individuals are absorbed in their own interior mental world in daydreams, fantasies, or delusions, and show a diminished capacity to understand the views and emotional states of other people. Basically, communism. By this, he means that China is unable to understand the apprehensions of its neighbors, India and Japan in particular. Its history as the Middle Kingdom puts it to believe itself as being the center of the world, with neighboring states offering its greatness with tribute. Deeply rooted and emotionally powerful Chinese beliefs about their country's long history make it difficult for the Chinese to empathize with their neighbors and effectively assuage or reassure their deep apprehensions about China's growing power. Beijing's inability to understand how India and Japan view increasing Chinese militarization is part of the reason why neighboring countries flirt with the idea of the formation of a collective security pact. It can be said that the dictatorial president's perspective is the driving factor behind acts of aggression in recent years. Beijing's aggressive expansionist policies have already been noticed in Ladakh last year, but have since long before been active in the South and East China Seas. The first ever overseas PLA support base in Djibouti also began operations in August 2017. And policy theories such as the string of pearls are being actively realized with the development of ports in Pakistan, Maldives, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, and Myanmar. In the South China Sea, Chinese claims through the Nine-Dash Line affirm it the title of regional bully. Its claims overlap with those of all other claimants over the shoals and rocks in the South China Sea. Chinese interest over the sea comes as part of studies claiming the sea to be resource-rich, both in minerals and energy. However, the South China Sea is also claimed as being China's backyard, making it one of the first lines of defense in any military actions against the People's Republic. In 2016, the Philippines took China to court, which resulted in the legal body declaring China's historic rights claims over the maritime areas, as opposed to land territories and territorial waters inside the Nine-Dash Line, have no lawful effect if they exceed what's entitled to under UNCLOS. To legitimize its claims and strengthen its defense, the Chinese have been engaged in the construction of artificial islands on shoals and rocks in the Paracel and Spratly group of features. These islands have now been militarized. However, their strategic military performance in times of conflict is yet to be determined. So the Great Wall of Sand, as they're called, the first of the big three is the Subi Reef in the Spratly Group. The completion of dredging was followed by the development of deep sea port capabilities and a dugout channel through which the outer ridge to create a channel for deep sea vessels to navigate into the blue water port was built along the northern inner rim of the shoal. The runway is estimated to be of 3,250 meters in length, which is enough to support advanced combat and fighter aircraft such as the Shenyang J-11, the Shenyang J-15, and the Chengdu J-17, as well as the Russian Sukhoi Su-30 MKK and the fifth generation Chengdu J-20 Mighty Dragon. The second of the big three is Mischief Reef. The shoal has a port along the northern inner rim, which can support deep sea capabilities through the two channels dug along the southern ridge. In 2018, the Philippines was alarmed by the fact that two Jian Y-7 aircraft had landed on Mischief Reef, which was declared a piece of the Philippine continental shelf in the 2016 Permanent Court of Arbitration. And the Jian Y-7 is basically a medium-sized multi-purpose or transport aircraft. The 4-engine turboprop. Underground storage facilities located across the northern end of the shoal at both ends of the runway in the southwest and northwest, which can be used for the storage of ammunition and additional war equipment. The third of the big three is Fiery Cross Reef, and the runway on Fiery Cross is capable of supporting intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance collection aircraft called ISR, such as the Shaanxi KJ-500 and the KQ-200. Considering the current aircraft based at Fiery Cross, it can be assumed that the PLA may consider deploying an anti-submarine warfare aircraft such as the Shaanxi Y-8Q. The hangars on the reef can house up to 24 combat aircraft and 4 large multi-purpose aircraft. Now, the Gavin Reef is an artificial island which is seen to be hosting a radar tower in the northern prong, while having a docking pier in the southern prong, connected to the sea with what seems to be like a channel to enable deep sea vessels to make port. The larger central portion to the west of the man-made airport has a large building with 4 sections, atop which 2 gun emplacements are visible. I realize that the photos are not very clear, but I can send it through later on to whoever's interested in taking a look. There are vast arrays for solar panels to the west of the section, and this island serves the purpose of hosting a forward radar station supported by a helipad in the southern prong. On Hughes Reef, the facilities are similar to those on Gavin Reef. The artificial island on the reef has a deep sea port connected via a dug-in channel for naval vessels, along with what could be a radar or radio mast in the eastern section. In the central section, the helipad for the reef can be seen, west of which is the main large building. Like on Gavin Reef, the main building on Hughes Reef also has gunnery positions atop the main building. The Johnson South Reef has the main building toward the southern section of the artificial island, supported by an array of solar panels in the east. There is a radome located in the eastern section as well as a tall radar or radio mast. Another radome is located in the northern section near a pier which is connected to the sea via a man-made channel to enable deep-sea vessels to make port. The northern section also hosts a helipad, and unlike other reefs, Johnson South has a patch of plant vegetation in its central section. Quarteron Reef is larger as compared to the other reefs, but there is a helipad in the eastern section of the island, while the west has a pier that is connected to the sea via a dug-in channel. The center west and the northeastern sections have radar towers as well as what could be a lighthouse. Vegetation patches could be put in place to camouflage high-frequency radar booms, which could be the white spots in the patches, while also having a bunker in the northwest. Now those were all the man-made islands in the Spratly Islands. Now, one of the oldest islands that the Chinese have been using for military purposes is Woody Islands in the Paracel Islands group. It was taken over from the Vietnamese as part of the 1979 Sino-Viet clash, and Woody Island is located some 330 kilometers southeast of Hainan province and boasts a population of 1,000 in Sansha city after its occupation. The process of land reclamation on the island began as far back as the 1990s, when the CCP ordered the construction of a 2,700-meter runway. The base has about 20 small-sized hangars, which have hosted fighter aircraft such as the Shenyang J-10 and Shenyang J-11, and the Sukhoi Su-30 MKK. The airbase is also large enough to operate larger aircraft such as the Shaanxi Y-8, the KJ-500 AEW&C aircraft, which is airborne early warning and control aircraft, and the Jian-H-6 strategic bomber. The Central Military Commission has also deployed HQ-9 SAMs and YJ-62 subsonic anti-ship cruise missiles. Among the many paranoias that aggravate China is the dilemma posed by the strategically invaluable Strait of Malacca, connecting West and South to East Asia. The blockage and prevention of the transit of vessels at this choke point can interrupt the Chinese economic as well as politico-military ambitions and have a serious impact on its sustainability as a state of order and strategic power. To work around this, the Chinese have been very seriously working on the proposed development of the Kra Canal in Thailand. The canal would connect the Gulf of Thailand with the Andaman Sea across the Kra Isthmus in southern Thailand. Currently, no proposals have been taken up by the Thais, but many members of the Quad, such as the Australians and the Indians, have shown interest in developing it, in a bid to prevent another debt trap card played by Beijing.